fire on, telly, one of them to the outside world.
Absolutely. My addition to that is that to the world, TV on, bra off.
The job that we do isn't a normal job. I'd never ever had any sort of advice or help with that. So there was a lot that built up in my mind, take me out, which is obviously a big Saturday night dating show. And sometimes I'd be in the dressing room, literally dealing with something on the phone at home, mentally burnt out.
You were diagnosed with clinical depression.
Yeah, Leo and Penelope, my first twins, were diagnosed with autism, and that was a lot to take on. And years ago, before documentary and therapy and everything, I'd be like, I can't cope with this. To now, it's like, I couldn't give a monkeys. Have you done you must have done loads.
I like vinyasa yoga is the one for me. It's like very flowy, fluid yoga. I think you'd like that.
Right, okay. Yeah, but I definitely need to work on the flexibility. I'm knackered.
Yeah, well, it's harder as you get older.
Of course it is.
Can you touch your toes?
I don't think I can.
Let's try.
I can sort of. That's about my limit there.
Come on.
That's,
yeah. Not
apologies.
Bad going.
just realised I was over my. We've not paid our money for this.
I think that's not bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
Not bad
it's
at
okay.
all. I mean, we're up your neck of the woods, so this is perfect for you, isn't it?
It's brilliant. This is 25 minutes from my house.
Love it.
And Tatton Park, because I bring the kids here, it's a brilliant place. They've got like all the farm at the top there. They've got a brilliant playground over there and what have you, so it's handy for us. But this is since our last time I was here, I did an outdoor show with Lee Francis, who's Keith Lemon. We did the movie show live here, and it was brilliant. So it's always good up here. Everyone always comes out and gets behind you. Yeah,
so nice. I mean, as you can see, and as you've experienced watching people doing yoga in the rain, it's a big celebration of wellness, which I think is no more complicated than just simply feeling all right, feeling well. Do you feel well at the moment?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the usual stuff, innit? You know, some days you wake up and you feel like $1 million, and other days you feel like crap.
Yeah.
You know, like we all do, depending on. I mean, last night, my youngest, Felicity, had a toothache, so I was up all night. And then I got back from my show this morning, and she's feeling better now. But her friend's at the house now, so all I had all morning was, I'm known as Felicity's dad in the house.
Obviously.
So, Felicity's dad, will you do this? Felicity's dad, will you do that? So, now I'm here, I'm going to stretch this out.
Okay.
This is going to be the longest podcast ever, because I don't have to deal with being Felicity's dad for a bit.
Do you want me to call you Felicity's dad during the chat? Helpful?
That'd be odd, but
okay.
yeah.
Well, look, we're so happy to have you here, even on no sleep at all.
Yeah.
I know you've been on your own I don't love the word journey, but you have been on your own journey with your mental health.
Yeah, I think it's a strange one, because where I was brought up in Bolton and the life I had before, you become a celebrity, if you like. I've done loads of different jobs and very male-dominated, building sites and engineering places and all that sort of thing. And it genuinely was that kind of no one ever spoke about anything. And I think, when I speak with my mates now, I've noticed those lads who were all still in the building game and, that sort of like real macho kind of appearance, they have 100% changed. They speak differently now, and they talk about things a bit more openly. And it sounds that, sometimes it's a little bit saccharine saying, you should talk about it, you should open up and what have you. But when I first ever went to therapy, which was, about 4 or 5 years ago, I honestly felt like, God, I wish I'd have done this sooner. It was like a weight off your shoulders. I don't know if anyone's ever been to anything like that, or, where you sort of sit in front of a complete stranger, really, and you're telling them things that you just wouldn't tell your best friend. But it's really cathartic, and it's I definitely recommend it. It changed everything for me, just to offload stuff and getting an opinion that isn't biased. you know, because your friends, if you offload to your friends and they'll side with you a lot of the times, don't they? Go, oh, you're right, yeah, and that's the problem, and
Yeah.
it's not you or whatever
Yeah.
it might be. But I found the sort of the advice I were given and just talking, it just really opened my eyes to a lot of different things. Even when I'm out in the car, you know, and we've all had it where someone cuts in front of you or whatever, and you but
Yeah.
even that, you know, just I look at that differently now. It's you know, I'm not perfect. I don't walk around every day sort of like smelling flowers and you know in long white robes and what have you. But
Now, that is the sign of a sane person.
yeah,
Very much so.
yeah. But you know, I just kind of look at things differently.
Yeah. No, I totally hear you. I go to therapy every week. I wouldn't miss it. I love it. I don't know about you, but I found one of the most helpful things was someone validating how I was feeling. Because I would always go, oh no, don't be upset about that, or don't be angry about that. You're really lucky. You know, you love your job. You've got your kids. You know, I would sort of suppress things because I thought I shouldn't be looking at it, which is actually the opposite of true. We should be feeling our emotions and going, yeah, I'm really angry about this, and not
Yeah.
to stay in that emotion, but to recognize it at least. That for me was really helpful.
Yeah, I also think when you understand something, it's easier to realise you don't have to react a certain way. You know, I realise I'm probably going to lose about 80% of the room here, but I'm going to talk about golf. Um,
Great.
but it's like when I first started playing golf and I was rubbish at it, and I hate this game. And then I got a few lessons. When I understand, it didn't make me any better. I was still rubbish, but I understood why I was rubbish. And it made me just enjoy the game, even though I still couldn't do the shot. Because I knew why that shot wasn't going right, I just started enjoying it more. And that's literally therapy for me. You kind of go in, so it's not as though all your problems are going to go away, but you can look at them in a different way and sort of react differently.
Yeah, I've never weaved golf into a mental health chat before. I enjoyed that.
No, yeah. Welcome to the north.
That's so good. But I totally understand what you're saying. A lot of the time, we don't know why we're reacting in a certain way. We have no clue why we're angry constantly about the same thing or triggered by something. And I think getting to know yourself as you get older
Yeah.
is so important.
It is, and I think you know with social media now, and you look at the world and what's going on. And I think we're sort of we're open to more things now. We see more things. When I was a kid, you know, in our house with my mum in Bolton, you kind of there was like the Mirror and the Sun. Those were the newspapers that were in the house. So that's kind of the world, really, what you saw, and then news at 10. And for me, growing up, you know, I never took any notice of any of that. But now, whether you sort of keep an eye on the news or not, you're sort of bombarded by it.
Yeah.
It can feel like all encompassing. It can feel like everything's negative and everyone's against each other and everything else. And that's why I love anything like this live. And even when I'm touring, doing, say, stand-up, people on the whole are all right. And when they get
Yes.
together,
Yeah.
you know, we have a nice time. You see people and you chat and what have you. And kind of, I feel as though it's quite an optimistic view, but, you know, you can get in your car and drive home and there's no one sort of purposely running you off the road and, you know, there's like oil drums on fire and, oh, you know, we're not there, but it feels like that
Yep.
sometimes. It feels like we're all against each other, but actually people kind of get on most of the time.
Oh my God, I've walked around all weekend. I've met only lovely people. There are no dickheads here. I've done a survey. I've done a survey. There are none. There are
Stick
none.
around till after 10 o'clock tonight when the pubs start closing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's so lovely. I mean, you've talked about this publicly, but you were diagnosed with clinical depression.
Yeah.
How
yeah.
did that change things having a label to it?
Firstly, a shock, because I think with depression, personally, you know, you don't realise it. It's sort of people around you, your friends and your family, who'll kind of, well, you're not yourself today, or you're reacting a little bit differently. And me at the time, when it started creeping, you know, my children were Leo and Penelope, my first twins, were diagnosed with autism, and that was a lot to take on. And to sort of compute, because before you have children, this is me speaking as a bloke, you have an idea in your head of how it's going to be. So, on the park, a game of football, or you're going to go here and you do that, you do this, and all that all of a sudden all changes. So I didn't realise how much that started creeping into my mind, and how sort of just how upset I was at the time, and not being able to deal with things and what have you. So you throw yourself into work, and you like most people, you think, oh, I've got to provide for my family, and I've got to try and get as much as I can now, because these children are going to need as much support as possible. But at the time, thinking financially, but obviously we know that isn't the answer to everything. And then it slowly must have just crept up on me, and I didn't realise it. And it was talking to me ex-wife one day at home, and we were talking about therapy and what have you. And again, for me, I was like, don't need that, But we sorted it out, and I went to the Priory, actually, which is, because a lot of people think of the Priory as a sort of, they deal with alcohol addiction and drug addiction. There's lots of, but they do loads of stuff at the Priory. And I went there and started talking to this therapist, and it was kind of all right, but didn't really work for me. And this is another thing I say to people when they're thinking about doing something like that, is it's not a quick fix. The person you're talking to might actually be the world's best therapist, but they're just not right for you.
Yeah.
So I saw 2 different therapists, and I thought, I'm wasting my money here. And then it was one of those, someone got in touch and went, there's this guy at the Priory, and he said he'll see you. And I was like, oh, God, all right, I'll give it a go this last time. And honestly, after that first hour, I felt just light. I felt like I got so much off my chest, and talking about my children and autism and my life, and there's no two ways about it. The job that we do isn't a normal job, you know what I mean? So coming from a working class background and how I was brought up, to people recognising you, because you see all the good trappings, a nice car and house and all that usual things when people, do well. But everything else, I'd never, ever had any sort of advice or help with that. I just kind of got on with it right from Phoenix Nights, really. So there was a lot had built up in my mind. And like I say, that guy, Dr. Shah, he's called, if you ever want to go to the Priory, he's amazing. But he was brilliant. And I saw him consistently once a week for about, probably about 6 months. And in the end, I remember him sort of going like, not you're okay now, but he's like, look, you let's make it once a month. And I was going, oh, no, because you're my mate now. I actually look forward just to seeing him and having a bit of a chat and what have you. And now, what's brilliant with Dr. Shah is like, I'll just WhatsApp him now and again. And I'll say, how you doing? Are you all right? He's go, yeah, you're okay. And he'll go, do you want to come back? And I'm going, no, I'm all right at the minute. But if I do, I'll go in and see him. But because I can manage it now a little bit better, it's nice not thinking, I must go. It's like, if it's there, I can go.
So do you know when you're headed towards a bad patch? Can you feel it happening? Are there signs?
I suppose, you can probably be irritable, but you don't realise that. So I sort of think to myself, I might be in a situation and something will happen. It's not anything major, but I'll think to myself after, could have handled that a bit better. You know what I mean? And it won't be anything like, say, a big situation, but just to me, I think, why have I done that like that, or why have I spoke like that when I could have done it like this? And that's when I start thinking about it. But because I recognise it, I can figure it out myself these days,
And how do you do that? Because you know, like you touched on a moment ago, our job isn't conducive to good mental health. Shock horror.
Yeah.
It's like it's not normal, and you are dealing
Yeah.
with a lot of outside opinion, and there's not much room for error because everyone's
No, I
straight
know.
on you. Like,
Yeah.
how do you navigate all of that well?
Well, this thing still surprised me now. When we're talking about social media before, so there's this thing now called clickbait. So you'll see a story online about someone that's really sensationalized, and when you click on it, it's usually nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And that's become a thing at the minute. But because of everything with the therapy and doing stuff over the last few years, I can smile at that now. Like, for instance, this is a true story. A couple of weeks ago, so I do a show on Radio 2 every Sunday morning, 11 till 1. And there's a little car park at the studio. So I park my car, I get out, pay for a ticket, put it in my car, walk into the studios, right? Now, unbeknownst to me, there's a paparazzi taking photos of this. The Mail online then put it straight online and go, Paddy McGuinness looking glum.
Brilliant.
Now, who pays for a parking ticket like that? It's the biggest head wreck ever, and that's where you go, what? I'm paying for a parking ticket.
It's absurd.
I remember I was driving the car once, and they took a photo of me in my car, going, looking serious. I'm like, I'm just driving to the shop.
Navigating a roundabout.
In
Yeah.
fact, if I see someone behind the wheel of a car like this, I'm avoiding them.
Yeah. Worrying.
But that is one of the mad things now
Yeah.
with the job, and it's turning so quickly where, because obviously things like online news outlets, it's all about making money, and they get money by clicks. But stuff like that, I think, even 2 years ago would have absolutely drove me mad. But now I can just have a laugh about anything. Oh, clowns.
Yeah, clowns. It's the
Yeah,
only way.
yeah,
Otherwise, you'll
yeah.
drive yourself absolutely mad
Yeah,
worrying about what everybody's
exactly.
thinking and talking about, and it's just absolutely maddening.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned this a moment ago. You made the most beautiful documentary about autism involving your children. And I mean, it was shot beautifully too, because you've kept your children completely private throughout the whole process, but managed to talk about it so intimately. And I think it's obviously been hugely helpful to so many other families out there, people navigating it. When you first had that diagnosis for your twins of autism, I know that you've said you were scared of the word, scared of the subject. What was it that scared you?
Well, it's having no idea what it was. I'm like most people. I was brought up, I was born in 73, kind of had my heyday in the 80s. And in the 80s, the only, thing about autism that I remember, which were my formative years, was like the film Rain Man, which makes out all autistic people just go to casinos and are brilliant at gambling, which is obviously complete bollocks. Because I used to take my son to the bookies every Saturday. No. But it's but so you kind of have this idea of what it is.
Yeah.
Which is nothing like what it is. So dealing with all that, which is a lot for any parent, and then having the therapy and understanding it and just learning more and more about it. That documentary, when we discussed doing it, it literally took to make probably about 4 years.
Really?
Because from the initial thought, I felt like I was drowning and I needed help, and I wanted someone to throw me like a lifeline. And I thought, I need to speak about this, because what were happening is I was going to work, and you're doing shows, which is all jazz hands.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with management and different things, and no one had a clue what were going on. So I found myself getting really wound up about things. And I mean, like, it sounds very Mariah Carey, this, but it's like, if the car what was supposed to be taking me somewhere wasn't there, like nothing things. And I was like, geez, I need to talk to someone about this. So the idea of the documentary was really originally to try and get some help. And then as the years went on, and I've always got me children's, so it's not up to them that we're doing a documentary. So we're conscious of bringing that into their life. So that's why we both chose never to show the faces,
Yeah.
but we felt they had to have a presence in that documentary because, you know, this is what we're talking about. But what I found, and even to this day, Luke, I was walking around there earlier on before I saw you, and a couple stopped me, you're probably in the audience now, who asked me, oh, they're over there, hello there, who said, you know, their child's autistic, and they were talking about the documentary and what have you. Now, that's all those years later, so I
Yeah.
feel as though kind of like it feels like a little bit of community of mums and dads helping each other, because that's what it's all about, regardless of what's going on in your life. If you can help each other out, it's a godsend. And again, for me, speaking about it publicly, it was a chance to show all my friends and family, all those times my mates would go, oh, he never comes out, or why are you not going here, or we're going doing that. And you're that person in your group who's the miserable get, you know, not want to do anything. But it was almost like going, Luke, this is why now. I can't just do that. Or this is why I've not had you over at the house, because I'm dealing with things and things have to be done in a certain quite calm and peaceful. Now, my kids now, flipping heck, like the house is absolute chaos, but in a good way, you know, because when they were first diagnosed, I was like, got to have everything quiet and we've got to do it a certain way. But anyone with children with autism will know every child with autism is different.
Of course, yeah.
So it's not a one thing is good for everyone. And now, weirdly, it just doesn't even come into my head anymore. You know, even if like, you know, my youngest Felicity, you know, has a meltdown or anything like that, it kind of like years ago, before documentary and therapy and everything, I'd be like, I can't cope with this. I need to escape. I cannot deal with this. To now, it's like, oh, I couldn't give a monkeys.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is kind of
Yeah.
thing. You know, even when we're out and about and what have you, we went to Minorca a few weeks back. And even that now, when we were coming back on the plane, I was talking to Christine about it. I'm going, can you believe we do this now? Because going to an airport with children with autism, I mean, listen, anyone with kids, it's stressful going on holiday anyhow,
Oh,
and
it's a bloody nightmare. It needs it shouldn't be called a holiday.
No,
It's not a holiday.
no, not at all.
Give it a new name.
Not at all, yeah. But it's, but, you know, you can times that by 100.
Yeah.
So this is why things like the lanyard scheme, it's amazing, that scheme. You know, when you're at an airport and you've got your lanyards on and your children have got your lanyards on, hidden disabilities, it's so good to see. It's heartening, and that's at both sides. You know, when we're coming back from Spain and what have you. But like I say, when they're on the plane now, you know, like most kids, they've got a bloody iPad or the phone or the colouring or whatever, and all those stresses and anxiety I don't even think about now. And like I say, you go, God, how far we've come. But you've got to put a lot of work in.
Of course.
But if you do that with any child, you're going to reap the benefits later on anyhow.
And I guess because you feel like, you know, you've talked about this publicly, there is a community out there. There are parents that want to have this conversation. You don't feel so alone in it. I think that's the issue with any scenario in your life where you feel like, this is just me going through this. No one gets it. Now you've got, you know, a whole group of people that want to have a really great conversation about this subject.
Absolutely. You know, even amongst my own friends as well, you know, we talk about things and
Yeah.
they'll ask me questions, you know, and it's really refreshing. But even now, like the couple over there and online, people will message me and go, you know, watch your documentary, we do this now, you know. It's a shame in this country sometimes it's a little bit of a postcode lottery with what help's available and what help's not available. And that's whether you're private or not.
Yeah.
So that's a shame. That would be nice to change eventually. But just talking about things and knowing you're not on your own. You're not that one person who's sat there, you know, in tears, not knowing which way to turn. You know, other people have been in that exactly the same position, and it's just nice knowing people have got your back.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest misconceptions about autism are?
Well, I think sometimes, we're talking about meltdowns. So don't confuse a meltdown with a tantrum, because comparing a meltdown to a tantrum's like comparing a candle to an oil rig fire,
Yeah.
right? They're two different things. And what used to happen sometimes, if that happened when we were out and about, people would look and think spoiled or bratty, because they wouldn't understand. And I used to get so wound up because I'd want to go, no, actually, what's happening here? But you can't do
can't,
that, you know
no.
what I mean? So I think that's one of the biggest ones for me, where people presume they're just being spoiled and just kicking off, you know what I mean? And it isn't the case.
Yeah, and because you have to bear in mind the sensory element to,
Yeah.
children that are neurodivergent, everything feels different. And that means that, coming to something like this or going to the airport, you've got to put
Yeah.
prior thought to all of it.
I remember being with my little lad. He was only about 4 at the time, and we'd stopped at a motorway services, and he wanted a wee, and we're in the toilets, and someone just turned the hand dryer on, and my son absolutely lost it, And that's one of those things where I felt myself getting annoyed at the person who put the hand dryer on, but it's totally not. He's just drying his hands.
Yeah.
So that was another thing to kind of think. You can't go out and presume everyone knows everything. You know what I mean? It's just never going to happen like that. But again, with my son, what I'd do is I explained what it was, and luckily I can make my kids we usually have a good laugh, and I can try and make something funny. And now, if we go out and we're in a public bathroom or anything at all, and someone's put the hand dryers on, it literally isn't an issue anymore.
Yeah.
But if I'd have gone to him, that's never going to happen again, and it wouldn't have benefited him. So it's not a case of if you're scared of flying, you must get on a plane. It's, slow baby steps, but you can get there with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's finding the coping mechanisms that work for you as a parent, and
Yeah.
also then the ones for the kids that enable them to navigate it all as well. I mean, it's so much to take on. And like you said earlier, dealing with your own mental health alongside this, it's a lot. Like most people that have come here, we've all got stuff going on in our lives, things that we're dealing with in our heads that nobody else knows about. You've also got this, extraordinary job, and a lot of it is about entertaining other people and making them laugh. Does that, or has that at periods felt jarring that you're feeling like shit and you've got to go out and make people feel happy?
Yeah, I remember when that really kicked in, is probably at the back end, last probably 2 or 3 series of doing Take Me Out, which is obviously a big Saturday night dating show, a lot of fun, party atmosphere. And sometimes I'd be in the dressing room, literally dealing with something on the phone at home and stressing about it. And I think your mind's a powerful tool. It makes everything worse. Every problem's magnified a million times, and I would always murder going worst case scenario with everything. And then you go out there and you do the show and you come off, and I'd be knackered, and because I'm mentally burnt out. But again, all those little things like I spoke about before, they all helped depression come to the front. They're all little chinks in the armor that were slowly being eroded that I didn't realize. But again, on the positive, the job is brilliant for then talking about things.
Yeah.
Because you're going to reach more people and you're going to sort of make more people aware. So I take the positives out of things like that now.
Yeah, it's great because it is quite draining. I remember when I was on Radio 1 and I was having a bad mental health blip, and I just knew I had to sort of click into acting somewhat. I don't feel like I have to do that in this space if I'm feeling great or not great. It's sort of irrelevant because we'll talk about it anyway, we'll be honest about it. But, there's no room to do that on the radio, no room to do it as a stand-up or if you're doing a TV show. You do have to switch it on, and then I think you've got to watch your energy levels. It's so tiring to keep acting all the time. But,
Yeah.
it's part of your job. You have to sort of click into it.
Yeah, and I think, obviously I was talking before about social media, and there is a lot of negativity with social media, but also, again, not everyone's bad on there, and it's great for reaching people as
Yeah.
well. So, and now we're in a space and time in the world where you can go online. You could totally go online tomorrow and go, I've had a really bad day today, and put it out there, and you'll have, loads of people getting in touch with you, people who've had a bad day get in touch with you, and then people get in touch with them, and that's what's lovely about social media. There's still more good than bad, even though it doesn't feel like it at times.
Yeah, no, I agree. And what do you do just to keep yourself mentally feeling well? Are there non-negotiables that you have to have in place so that you can, be the dad you want to be, go out and do the job and really, really enjoy it?
Gin,
Gin
mainly.
or gym?
No,
Gin.
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 Definitely gin. No, I think all my life, weirdly, even though this job I do is a real sort of, you're out there and you're in front of people all the time. I've always been, right from school, really shy. Like, really shy. If I used to be 5 minutes late for a class, I'd never go in. I couldn't bear the thought of walking through the door and everyone looking up at me because I was late. It just used to drive me mad. And now I've sort of, after, God, however long it's been, I've been doing this for a living, well over 20 years. I've finally got to the stage where sometimes I feel as though I don't have to do things because of my job. So, whatever, you get an invite to a cinema premiere or a red carpet do, and I'm like, I cannot be arsed.
Never.
I am happiest on the couch.
Same.
Ice road truckers, lovely.
Is that your thing?
Or America's toughest prisons.
What jolly
And
viewing.
you go, well, I'm not there, so that's good. But I just love being at home. I love being around my kids. I've got to sometimes do things to get myself out of that because I've come a bit too insular then.
Yeah,
you
me
know.
too.
But I do love, being at home. It's amazing.
I mean, we're selling these socks here that say on them "Happy Little Hermit" because that's what many of us are. I love being a little hermit at home.
Oh, I love it.
There's nothing better.
Door shut, especially at winter, fire on,
Yeah.
telly,
Yeah.
one of them to the outside world.
Absolutely. My addition to that is shut the door, that to the world, TV on, bra off. Ah, that is the best feeling ever. Unrivaled feeling, everyone.
Me
Get that
too.
bra on. Yeah, love
Me
it.
too.
No one wants to relax in an underwired bra.
No,
God, no.
absolutely.
But fitness has come into your life in quite a big way, hasn't it?
Yeah. Do you know, it's funny, like when you do stuff, I'm not a person who's up in the morning weighing out, an ounce of mung beans and, and making sure my water's at a certain temperature.
Right.
I kind of feel as though, if I have, like, for instance, yesterday, my cousin came over with her husband and my brother and his wife and what have you, and I literally got like a big Greg's shop.
Yeah.
Every steak bake you can think of, cakes, everything. Great.
Yeah.
So tomorrow though, I'll be like, right, a bit more sensible. So that's how I look at everything. You can have a blow, you can enjoy yourself, but it is about balance. But it's only since I did that Children in Need challenge, and that was so physically exertive that weirdly, when I stopped that challenge, so Chris Hoy, who's like an amazing guy, I rang him up and I said, look, I'm struggling here because as horrendous as it was doing 300 and odd mile on a child's bike, it was kind of like I missed it weirdly. I missed that sort of doing stuff, really physically exertive things. So I had to wean myself off it, and now I've not trained for probably about a month now, but I know I will do again. So it's like knowing it's there, but it is. I don't know the science behind, but you see everywhere that exercise endorphins and everything. I really do believe in that because there's something. It doesn't feel like it at the time.
No.
You know what I mean? But after, you do get a little bit of a like, oh, I feel better now.
Yeah,
You know
you
what
feel
I mean?
better, you
Yeah.
feel energized, you feel smug. I
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
bit. You
yeah.
feel so smug for the rest of the
Yeah,
day.
I've
It's
not got
great.
into the old Apple Watch counting my steps and all that carry on yet, but
All that carry on.
yeah, but yeah, I kind of just yeah, I go off how my trousers feel when I
Right,
fasten them
yeah,
on. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I'm all right. Oh Jesus, better get on the Peloton. You know what I mean? So that's how I do it these days.
How's your sleep? Has your mental health affected that in a negative way ever?
No, I think having 3 kids in general, permanently tired.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when they talk about, like, oh, you don't have caffeine after 6 o'clock. Like, I can have it at bedtime. I can literally have a cup of coffee at the side of me in bed, drink it, and I'm gone.
Really?
Yeah. My biggest thing is it doesn't feel like I can ever get into a. That's one of me. When you were talking about yoga right at the beginning, that's something I want to do. But I want to try and work on my sleep.
Yeah.
I want to try and like. I love an early night. I
Me
mean,
too.
it feels like a little bit of a win
It's so
when you're
naughty
in
and
bed
brilliant.
for about 9:45 with a cup.
9:45, that's late.
Yeah.
That is, I'm not even joking.
Yeah,
That is so late.
yeah. But I kind of love it, and I love going.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in bed and you're not.
Yeah, I love it.
World.
Especially in the summer when you're going to bed and it's daylight.
Oh, I love it.
Cheeky.
Although I love in summer, I love the quilt between my knees,
Right.
and obviously the cold side of the pillow. That is the best feeling ever in summer. But
So niche.
but yeah, I want to try and it's difficult. I think, you know, again, going back to having kids, keeping a routine when you've got children is not easy because, like last night, Felicity with
Yeah.
her toothache, you know, things happen. But I'd love to be able to consistently, like, be in bed for about 10:30 and get up at, you know, well, I'm always up in the morning with the kids anyhow,
Yeah.
but just get that. Is it 8 hours is the
Well, it
optimal
keeps changing,
thing?
doesn't it? I think we're saying 8.
Is 8 the kind of
Yeah,
one?
it kind of stresses me out knowing, because then when I haven't got 8, I'm like, oh no, it's going to be
Yeah,
a bad day.
yeah.
And usually it's not. Usually you're absolutely fine.
Yeah, I remember once I once slept for, I think it were honestly, it were about 12 hours. I were ill. I went away with some friends to Portugal. And I had a dodgy steak, and it really did me in. I mean, both ends. And I just stayed in bed for about 3 days. But I remember sleeping for 12 hours and waking up and literally feeling like one of the Avengers.
Yes.
I was like, "Ugh." So there is something in the sleep thing, you know what I
There's
mean?
something in the sleep
everyone,
thing.
you know, talks about the gym and everything else, but the sleep thing
Yeah.
is key.
We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
What do you do, right? So you mentioned this earlier, getting into these sort of catastrophizing cycles. I do this all the time. I had really bad periods of it where I believed all the worst outcomes were going to happen. It was like, that is how my day is going to go. Well, that worst case scenario is going to happen if I don't do whatever. Like OCD in the mix, the whole thing. When you're on a bit of a catastrophizing vortex, how do you get out of that? How do you find common sense again, or a place of feeling more neutral about it?
I think if you can pick up the phone to a friend and talk about it, that helps.
Yeah.
But when I look back at all the experiences and all the bad parts I've had in my life and those dark sort of times, it never quite happens how you catastrophize. You know what I mean? It doesn't, the world doesn't end because that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So that's what I cling on to, you know, it sort of, you think, do you know what? We're above ground and we're sort of still breathing. Let's try and figure it out, you know. And it doesn't always work, but that's the way I just kind of think it's not going to be as bad as what you think it's going to be.
Yeah, it's so hard to claw yourself back when you're in that little spiral. It's not easy, but we can all do it. And what about self-loathing? Does that ever come into it when you're feeling down? You know, that's certainly, I think, something that myself and all these lovely Happy Place, a lot of the ladies here, when we're talking on social media or we're getting feedback from certain podcast episodes, that is such an issue. When your mental health's low, the self-loathing is so easily creeps into the equation.
I don't care what you do for a living, we all go through that.
Yeah.
We all go for it. And you have the imposter syndrome and everything else. I think for me, strangely, when I started doing this job, because I'm like say brought up by my mum on her own in Bolton, working class. I remember even now sometimes I kind of feel as though like God, everyone's better educated than me. Everyone seems to have gone to uni, and everyone's kind of feels secure. Now I know that isn't the case, but that's what my mind tells me, and
Yeah.
that's where you start doubting yourself
Yeah.
and worrying about stuff. And I've done so many tours of the UK. I've just done one recently, sold out everywhere. And even though that happens, I still worry about being able to do stuff and what people think and everything else. And it's, but you know, I think the good news, if you can call it good news, is we all think that
We do.
we all. And if you don't, you're probably that person who drives around like that. If you don't,
You're
you
that
know,
twat in the car.
yeah.
I totally hear you on that. You know, I'm from a working class background. I didn't go to university. I've been totally like just drowning in that insecurity that I'm not smart enough. And I think the good flip side of that is that it drives you. That drives me constantly. I want to read more books. I want to learn more. I want to better myself. I want to prove to myself that I can do things that I don't think I'm capable of. I think you can. And I've had moments where I have blocked myself from doing things. So I thought, I'm not smart enough to do that. I'm out of my depth. You know, you're with a bunch of journalists who all went to Oxbridge or whatever, and you just feel like, this is so out of my league. But on a good day, if you can flip it and it drives you, that is the best motivator ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, say, even all those people who've had that education and everything else, they'll have their own doubts
Yeah.
about things. Or they'll probably look at you and go, oh, I wish I could be like, I wish I had that experience in my life. And everyone does it. Everyone looks at everyone else and wants a little bit what they've got, don't they?
Yeah.
And in Australia, I'm glad we're not all like that. I'm glad we have problems sometimes, because if everything was a bed of roses constantly, I think you probably get bored after a while. You need a little bit of drama now and again just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah,
you know what I
learn
mean?
from it.
Of course you do.
You learn from it,
Of course
make
you
better
do.
choices, don't do it
Yeah,
again.
you get better from it.
Absolutely. And where would you say your happy place is, Paddy?
Definitely at home.
Yeah.
You know, I probably, I should imagine most people say that to you. I don't know if they do or they don't, but yeah, I love being at home. Like I say, it's just that. I remember when I was a kid, like my mum would shout me in on Sunday night, so you'd be playing out, and then back in the day, mums used to shout you. You don't see that much now. Be like,
No.
Patrick! And you'd hear it like from 5 miles away,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, you're like a meerkat. And you're like, you're home. And that used to be, this is before phones, you know. So my mum would shout me in on Sunday night, and I always remember, like, so Sunday was bath night, so you'd have your bath.
Or just once a week?
Once a week, whether you like it or not. So it used to be bath night, and then you get in front of the fire, your mum would comb your hair in
Were
front
you
of the
brought
fire.
up in the Victorian times?
No, honestly, this was a Bolton thing. So like, and it'd be like, play your cards, right, or Love Boat or something would be on the telly. And but those moments of feeling really safe and warm and loved and comfortable, you're not realising that at the time, but they stay with you. And I think now, the psychology of that, when I'm at home and the door's shut and the kids are in bed and I've got the telly on, it must just be somewhere in me, like that is a happy place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just love that.
I love it. Do you still just bath on a Sunday?
No, yeah. Do you know, it's weird, isn't it? Because I love a bath and I'm a shower person these days, but I absolutely love a bath. But the only trouble now, again, with having kids, you start running a bath. Christ, it's 20 minutes filling it up. Kids, something kicks off, bath's cold. I've tried the Epsom salts and everything, but they just get up your bum. It's just like grit. It's like sitting on grit in the bath. I'm like, who's this relaxing? But yeah, I love being at home and I love knowing I've nothing to do.
Yeah.
It's just the simple things in life are always the best, I find. They're always the best.
They are the best. Well, we're going to let you get home to potentially have a bath if you fancy it.
Yeah. Felicity's dad will be back on the scene
Felicity's
in about
dad's
30
back.
minutes. Yeah.
Well, look, we have loved having you at the Happy Place Festival.
Thanks for
Everyone,
having
give
me.
it up for Paddy McGuinness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Come on, Paddy.
Thank you. Cheers, my
Bring
love.
it in. Thank you so
Take
much.
care. Thanks so much.